Have you ever suddenly woken up inside your own life and realized that what you had been chasing for joy and fulfillment left you with nothing but emptiness and sadness? For example, discovering that although you had been beside someone for a long time, you had never truly met or loved that person, because what you loved was the idea you had created of them. This is Judas, the traitor, yes, but not only that. He is the man who betrayed love, who betrayed the call to intimacy with Christ, that is, to full joy. He had walked with Jesus, heard his voice, seen his miracles, received his friendship, unique and deeply fulfilling, and yet he did not allow himself to be surprised by him, because he was enslaved to himself. In fact, he followed himself in Jesus, not the new life Jesus was bringing. Blinded by the devil's lie, he projected onto that charismatic and powerful Jesus his own idea of the Messiah, one who would fulfill his plans, his desires, pure and impure alike. That is why he was a thief, not only because he stole from the common purse of the apostles. Attachment to money, the root of all evils, is always a sign of slavery to the devil. But even deeper, his heart itself was greedy and ravenous, enslaved to desires that promised to satisfy and save us from death, from a hostile reality, from history itself. Deceived, Judas wanted to take for himself what can only be received as a gift, the gratuitous love that flows from the heart of God. And in the end, he stole from himself and from his own heart the capacity for wonder, the humility of not knowing, the joy of discovering something never known before, of experiencing something never experienced before. He deprived himself of openness to be surprised by an unimaginable love, a love capable of giving its life precisely for him, traitor, thief, and murderer. And so he kills himself, applying to himself the rigid law of violence and revenge, the law of one who replaces God, imagining he knows how God ought to act. According to some, Judas thought that by betraying Jesus, he would force him to use his power to free Israel from Roman oppression. All his intelligence was thrown into a demonic and therefore doomed plan, because in reality he had never truly known Jesus. And the same happens to us when we expect God, through a spouse, through children, through history itself, to obey our expectations and desires. We seek in control, in possession, in unhealthy relationships, in absurd strategies born from a distorted view of reality, the love and fullness that only God can give, surprising us in his time and in his way for the true good of our soul. Then failure comes. We open our eyes to wasted time, betrayed love, wounds we have inflicted, and the loneliness in which we remain. And we begin to destroy ourselves in self-contempt, in addictions, perhaps pornography, in hopeless sadness that drives us into alienation and escape. But take courage, because today we celebrate St. Matthias, and he is good news for us. God does not leave empty the place devastated by sin and betrayal. Just as from the death of his Son, he brought forth the salvation of the world, so from Judas's failure he brought forth a new and faithful calling. Matthias is the sign of the second chance that, in forgiveness, God would have offered Judas, and which Judas refused by killing himself. That same second chance is offered today to all of us, even in the midst of our own self-destruction. Have you failed? Have you betrayed? Have you stolen? Have you crucified Jesus in your brothers and sisters, and within yourself, and are now destroying yourself? Accept it humbly, and stop running, trying to silence the conscience crying out within you. Accept being Judas in order to become Matthias. Humble yourself before God, and allow yourself to be surprised by his love. Let the impossible, the unheard of, the unimaginable happen in you. Let God be God. Let the election you rejected to defend your own plans for happiness rest upon you once again. Christ has the power to make all things new, even the Judas within us. God is not a man, just as the church is not merely a human institution. God is infinite love, and his church is the community where this love is lived, a foretaste of heaven where the only law is love. There, through the Word, the sacraments, the communion of brothers and sisters, and the guidance of pastors, God continues to choose those who had not chosen him, because where sin has abounded, grace has abounded all the more. because where sin has devastated a calling, the Holy Spirit can still bring forth an apostle.